You're listening to the Wool Academy podcast. This is episode number 45.
Hello and welcome. My name is Elisabeth van Delden, and once a week we talk to an industry expert from the wool industry supply chain from farm to fashion and beyond, delivering strategies and insights to be successful in wool and showcasing those beautiful stories wool has to tell. Willy Gallia works together with his two brothers, a nephew and his father in the family business Fuhrmann, based out of Argentina. Fuhrmann is a wool supplier and top maker belonging to the G. Schneider Group. Willy calls himself a wool enthusiast, a lover of nature, happily married and a proud father, and a promoter of sustainable and responsible organic wool. Willy, welcome to the show today. How are you?
Hi, Elisabeth. Very well. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, thank you for your time today. Let's start by you introducing yourself a little bit more in detail and explaining the work that you do in the wool industry.
Well, you have done it very well yourself. So, my name is Willy Gallia, and I'm a commercial representative in Fuhrmann, which, as you said, is part of the Schneider Group. My work here is to look for customers. I am basically a commercial, and I follow Central and South American markets, also Asia, and particularly Northern Europe. And I help my brother also in the teamwork, Marco, to the rest of the clients in general. And on top of that, I am also specializing or heading a restructuring of our business towards a more modern approach, focusing on communication and having sustainability in the core.
Great, that's a lot of work, it seems. And yeah, maybe tell us also a little bit more what Fuhrmann does and what kind of services and products the company offers.
Yeah, as you said, it's a lot of work because it's a family-run business. As you pointed out, my father and my two brothers work together with me here, and my nephew now. And so we kind of do a lot of work all around. So I get to see all the work from production, logistics, financing, everything. No, so it's a lot of work. It's very nice because you get a good overview. And Fuhrmann, what we do here as part of the Schneider Group, we're one of the 4 mills that the group has around the world, with one in China, one in Egypt, and Berrone in Italy. And our mill was founded in 1998 here in Argentina, in Trelew, which is located in in Patagonia, in the south of Argentina. And it is we are the largest exporter of organic wool tops from the country. As from last year, we also became the largest exporter in general terms from Argentina. And as you know, all the wool from Argentina is non-mulched. This is so. What we do also in Fuhrmann, not only the tops, but we also have a vertical integration with the farms. We have been offering for the past 4 or 5 years, 5 or 6 years already actually, the service of managing farms. We noticed that in Argentina there was a big demand for this. We are based in Trelew. We are the only company whose head office is also in where the mill is, in Trelew, in the south of the country, and therefore we had this opportunity of growing towards the primary production, and we did this. And it's very interesting because we get to direct the production to where we think that the industry needs to be heading on a more faster scale. And this the scheme of vertical integration with the primary production allows us to have today over 2,100 sheep under our direct management, and we are going to 300,000 very shortly. So this, in terms of wool tops, is about 400 tons of wool that we are all converting. What is some of it is already organic, and the rest we are converting towards organic. So we expect to have 400 tons of organic wool tops from our own production, going to 600 tons, which is a unique business model. So this is in a nutshell what we do here in Fuhrmann.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of sheep and a lot of wool. Do you know how many farms that is around about for the
Yeah,
two
we have
mills?
12 farms, 12, 13 farms now. And as I said, we have a great demand for increasing the number of farms, but we are taking it slow because we need to build a team that manage these farms and all the structure behind it. So we're doing it very slow. We're doing it at a fast pace, but making sure that we do it properly, of course.
Okay,
So yeah, it's very interesting.
thank you. And if I understand correctly, was it your grandfather who started the company? Tell us maybe a little bit more about the history and also why you decided to work in wool and for the business.
Well, in my case, it was a thing related to the legacy, I guess, because as you pointed out, my grandfather, he was Italian. He was already into the wool business. My father he still is into the wool business, and he came to Argentina when he was about 20 years old to get to know the industry here. And he came from Italy, from Biella, and he fell in love with the country and met my mother, fell in love with her as well, and he stayed here. And so we are all very closely related to the Biela industry, which is, of course, Schneider Group is originally from Biela as well. So that is where the relation comes. And it's interesting because I see that in Schneider, it's also a family run business. We are also a family run business. So it's very nice to have this possibility of working with my father and my brothers. Although, as you know, it has its upside downs as everything, but it's all in all very nice. And what is very interesting is to be able to put into the traditional industry that wool is, to try and look for a new angle related to communications and to put, I am a younger generation, so I have to bring this into the industry somehow. And that's a very nice combination that I think is now bringing some results positive.
That sounds really good. And you said that a lot of your farms are already organic and the others are converting to organic. But why did you actually decide as a company to commit to the organic wool?
First, because it was the right thing to do. I mean, I was raised with all the concerns for, I'm a younger generation and we have been raised with a lot of concern for the environment. I think it's just something generational, maybe. And so, first, that was something that I just felt right to do it. But then also, it must be said that at the start we had a lot of struggle to do this because the market wasn't really there. So we were doing this, and it didn't yield, it didn't produce a positive result in terms of monetary results. But slowly, I mean, this started to appear, and in the past couple of years, now we see that the industry and the end user, the end customer, is is following this and is interested in this, and it's giving us the result that we needed to invest more and more and to convert the industry towards a sustainable approach. So that's why we decided to commit. Basically, for a general, it felt okay to do it. I mean, but now we see that it's also beneficial and it makes sense from the commercial and economical side as well. So that's also very nice.
So you needed a long breath for to wait until your
Yeah,
decision
exactly,
became
exactly.
a success. Okay.
Yeah.
And can you tell us maybe what is so special about organic wool or what makes organic wool?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Organic wool is everything is special about organic wool because it's very interesting and it's good to say and safe to say at this point to make a parenthesis and mention that wool in general is already the most eco-friendly way to dress people in the world. This has to be very clearly mentioned. But within this, organic wool is already a step further in the sense that it looks at the minimal impact of all the industry. And this is something that we need to pursue and not stay in the comfort zone saying that wool is all or it's okay to say that wool is already eco-friendly, but it's always better to pursue improvements, because when you stay in the comfort zone, it's when you start losing margin or losing share or just dying basically, and this is something we cannot afford. So in a philosophical aspect, organic wool represents the constant improvement of the industry, if you want to put it in this way. But in concrete terms, to answer the question, organic wool basically curates for all the chemical and toxicological aspects of the industrial process. So whoever uses organic wool, the product itself will have the least amount of residues that it can have. This is curated along the whole process, and it has protocols that look after this since the primary production, of course, in the farm, and then all along the industry. We do GOTS wool tops in Fuhrmann, which is the most accepted terms for our clients. It's what is more demanded, so that is where we have done our certification for the mill. It looks for many aspects of the processing. Of course, it also ensures the traceability in every step of the way, but it looks at the water treatment. It looks about the material. Of course, the detergents that you use, they need to be biodegradable. They look about they care for the workers here. They come and they ask them how they are doing, and they see that they were working in proper conditions. And this is basically for the industrial processing. Then if you go back to the primary production, to the farms, that's the local SENASA, which is the local National Health Authority. They have the protocol for organic, and they look into also similar issues like what pesticides you can or not use in the farm. Pesticides are actually forbidden. They give you a amount of the types of how medicine you can apply to the sheep is also looked into. So they give you what is okay to use and what is not. They make sure that you have a control of the grasslands. This is very important aspect. They look at that you don't produce desertification in the farm. So there is an audit of the grasslands of the farms, which is yearly or 2 years, I think, and this is also very important. And then they have general in the organic protocol. They talk generally about animal welfare as well, and about the general installations of the farm. So this would be, it's a very big and complex, and it includes many things, and I am surely skipping some of them, but as I say, the general outline is that it addresses and it looks at the best way to produce wool. And now what I see in the farms that I go and visit that are doing organic is that they are people that are really very focused on their production and how to improve it, and it revolves around the animals and making sure that they are healthy and well treated also. So it is a clear sign for the industry all along, also reaching the primary production, that if you do things caring for the environment and for the animals and for the people that work there, you get a benefit out of that, also an economical benefit. I think that is really, in a nutshell, what is happening with organic wool in Argentina, for what I've seen.
And when you started to implement organic on the farms, was it difficult to convince the farmers?
Well, we had a difficult moment at first because, as I said, we didn't get a premium or a sufficient premium for the organic wool because the industry it wasn't. It took some time to develop and to get there, but so we had a bit of a struggle. I mean, we didn't have enough support, but then slowly this started to appear. And what is interesting about Argentina and about organic wool is that the sanitary conditions in Argentina are very good. And that is why we are strongly pursuing this also, because we in Argentina, our wool is very good, but in terms of quality, if you look at Australian wool and New Zealand wool, Argentina wool is at best at the same level. We're not going to be better than Australian wool or better than New Zealand wool in terms of quality. But what Argentina wool is really good at is at its sanitary status. That is why all Argentine wool is non-mulched, and that is why it is important for us to spread this news, this story, which is of course not a story but a true situation with the production in Argentina, and that is what we try to explain to the farmers. They don't they It's quite simple for farmers to become organic if they follow the protocol. Is easy to implement for a number of reasons. Basically, because in Argentina, in Patagonia, the climate is very arid and desertic, so sheep graze at very low ratios per square mile. There's less contagion, less parasites, less flies. So it's a very healthy way to produce and a very natural way to produce. It's a very extensive production here in Argentina. So that is something that we need to. I think that the world is really looking for that stories and for that type of products. So Argentina has a lot to offer in that sense. So yeah, I think it's we're starting to get there. We're starting to make this known to the end user, and it's having very positive repercussions for all the production chain, also for the farmers.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. And if I understand correctly, what you said is that the the conditions of the land in Patagonia are already like that you naturally don't need to use any pesticides because it's dry and I guess also a lot cold, so there's not much for bacteria, etc., and parasites to grow.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes it easier. And speaking of Patagonia, what is so special about that place?
For me, it's very difficult to talk about about Patagonia because I live here. I love this place. It's where I chose to raise my family. So I am a bit maybe I'm not too objective about Patagonia, but if I have to say something, I think that it's a very nice communion with nature that we have here, the way we live, our day-to-day lives, and the activities we do. We are very much of an outdoor people, a lot of sports. It's very nice, and that it's really overwhelming the contact with nature here, and that's why I am always very open to. I mean, it's a place that if you don't see it for yourself, words just cannot describe it properly, and that's why. But that's why I'm very open. We're always very open for people to come and visit Patagonia. We always try to, invite people over, and when they come here, they see it for themselves, and it changes the whole perspective, and they really understand what in what what I am trying to say, basically, and it's very nice. So we are always welcoming people who want to come here to our farms, to our mill, and to see the general place, the nature here. It's very nice. So I would sum it up as a place where the communion with nature is very, very nice, and it's a very beautiful balance.
So you're basically open for brands and retailers to come and see for themselves how their wool is grown, if I understand your invitation.
Yes, yeah. Our invitation is always open. We are not perfect. We have many things that we want to, and we are improving. In Fuhrmann, particularly, we are adopting animal welfare protocols that are much, much more advanced than what the national authority is suggesting. We're trying to we are following the RWS protocols in our farms, but even if we're not certified, because the certification is now under, it's not available in Argentina yet, but we are one step ahead of this, and we're always listening to. This is the importance of communication, also that I was telling you before, Elisabeth. Communication is a two-way road, and we are very interested in hearing what the end consumer wants to improve of our production, and we are open to this. So we are always welcoming people who come with the spirit of helping and giving us a hand to direct our efforts towards improving the standards. But we're very happy with what we do now. So yeah, we're very open to receiving people to come and visit us.
And what kind of collaborations do you have so far with brands and retailers? Because you say you're quite vertically integrated, and so you can also connect directly with the brands and retailers.
Yeah, what we're doing many initiatives with different clients. That, of course, I'm not going to openly discuss them because I cannot. But what I want to say is that we are strongly collaborating with clients who want to have a traceable, a very defined traceability scheme. We are doing that in by brand ingredient branding. Basically, we are developing our own name as a Fuhrmann, as an integrated with the farms wool top producer, with a strong orientation towards sustainable and organic production, as I said before. And we are trying to generate contents that we want to make available for our clients. So this is something that we are building with a communication strategy, and that we want to have as many clients on board of this, because it is a two-way benefit for clients and for ourselves, of course, and it helps us to, as I said, direct our efforts towards improving our production, and it shows us what is the way for the future and what things need to be improved and where we need to put our efforts. So, in general terms, this is what we're trying to do with the clients who are willing to work with us and to help us out to do this.
I also liked what you said earlier, that you also want to listen more to what the end consumer is telling you. And one way I saw that you're getting more and more involved in social media, especially also on Instagram. How do you see that already benefiting you? And yeah, what are you listening or what can you hear actually?
Well, to be honest, I'm quite new with the Instagram, and I am not very professional with the. I am not really, a millennial, so I'm not the best to do this. But I am starting, and it's very interesting to see the repercussions. And what I am doing with this at the moment is basically showing day-to-day experiences and trying to put a human face to the industry, because I think that is what it's all about at the end of the day. All the certifications that we are doing and that we have been doing and that will come in the future are all depending on the people that are behind them and the intention that the people behind them have and the responsible of those people. So I think that the industry is looking for faces and for to humanize the whole supply chain. So in that regard, I think that Instagram is a very interesting tool, because I get a lot of when I post a picture, I get a lot of reactions, and that tells me already, depending on the type of reactions I get, what is of interest and what is not, and what is. It gives me a sense of a market that maybe from Patagonia here where we are, it's not so easy to have. So it really closes the gap. It really puts people together, and Instagram is today the best tool to do that. So it's a very interesting thing to study, and we are starting with this. We are very new at this, but I think it has an interesting future, and I think it's. I would encourage people in general to do it and to use it.
Okay, that's quite interesting, and thank you for being so honest that you just actually started and you're still learning. But I think that's already quite valuable for others to hear as well. And I heard you once kind of say that actually the lifestyle that people have in Patagonia
is actually quite closely related to all the trend in more urban areas in regards to slow fashion and back to nature. Can you talk a little bit more about this? How you think that Patagonia and wool from Patagonia can link well with consumer brands and the consumer directly?
Well, I have this idea, or what I see here with the communion with nature is that, as I said, I mean, we live here, and we respect a lot nature in our own way. We eat meat, of course, and this, but we do it with it's something of a ritual. For us in Argentina, it's not a secret that we like to eat asados, and this is something that puts people together. So in a way, I think that it's a nice communion that we have in that way as well. It's a cultural thing for Argentine people, that contact with nature, to go fishing, to go hiking, and all these activities that we do a lot. I think it's related to the fact that our population is quite small. We are 40 million inhabitants, and it's the eighth largest country in terms of square miles in the world. So there's a lot of. It's very easy for people to access nature and to go out there, and and also this, if you link it with the sanitary status of the wool production in Argentina, I think that it's very nice that we try and show the end customers that this is what we are about, and this is what wool in Argentina is about. It's about the contact with nature and finding a nice balance with it, and respecting it in your own way, but respecting it at the end of the day. And this is what we are, in a way, trying to. This is the lifestyle of Patagonia that we are trying to share with whoever wants to get on board.
So like it's kind of like a that could easily translate also to consumers in more urban areas. That's true. And one thing, if I'm a consumer, would I see a difference between organic wool and normal wool? Or yeah, how is organic wool different?
Well, as I said before, it is the as a product, it has the least amount of chemicals and pesticides traces in it. That's the bottom line of being organic, whether it's meat, wool, or any other product. That is the end. That if you get a fleece, or you get a sweater, or a jacket, or a suit made out of wool, organic wool, it's going to have less traces of chemical material and another toxic or wastes that regularly produced wool garments. This is the end of this is the bottom line. But as I said before, there's much more to it, and it's the way it's been produced all along the industrialization and the primary production. And it's showing, as I said, the way we need to go forward.
Okay, thank you for those final words. How is the best way for people to find out more about Fuhrmann and to connect with you directly?
Well, hopefully we're going to be reaching people out ourselves, so they're going to see us somewhere. But if today they want to look for us, they can do it on the G. Schneider webpage, which is www.gschneider.com, and also on my Instagram, which is Willy Gallia. You can look me up, or by email. But we're going to be more available, hopefully, each day.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Willy, for your time and explaining us all about organic wool and Patagonia. I really enjoyed your stories and how you described everything. I wish you continued success, and also lots of success for your committed wool growers, and all the best in the future.
Thank you very much, Elisabeth. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully you enjoyed listening to Willy talking about Patagonia as much as I did. If you want to find out more about Fuhrmann and also connect with Willy on his social media accounts, you can find all the links in the show notes at elisabethvandelden.com/045. That is elisabethvandelden.com/045. Also, I started a little newsletter that I send out twice per month. In the newsletter, I share my most recent blog posts, podcast episodes, and other interesting news articles that are related to wool and the fashion industry. I would love it if you join my mailing list and receive the newsletter on a regular basis. You can sign up at elisabethvandelden.com/newsletter. That is all for today. Talk to you again next week, and bye for now.